Welcome to Forged in Silence podcast, addressing issues men face, but rarely talk about. I have a new toy. Did I say that really fast? Addressing issues men face, but rarely talk about. I have a new toy. Robbie got to watch me test this thing out last week, and now I get to really get into my radio voice, Robbie.
You do.
I don't even know how to use these things properly. Like, how far do I eat it?
You can eat it.
I don't think that's going to go very well. Not for my teeth.
No. We might have to change this to ASMR, men's mental health ASMR podcast eating or microphone eating.
Yeah, I don't know that would go very well. We need like one of those like knives to watch it, like
one of those hot knives to cut it.
Yeah, or like one of those like one of the heated melted balls.
Oh yeah.
Right, and just drop it right here on the top, and then everyone could just watch and then watch me scream or something afterwards.
Well, we can be like, all the other cool kids and steal people's content, then put that still melting ball of someone else's content so you don't get your stuff taken down.
We could do that, but we're not. Absolutely not.
It makes me laugh when I see those people, just doing that. And I'm like, then you look at their subscriber base and, they got tons of subscribers and they're not doing anything besides sitting behind a computer and editing stuff. They're putting time into it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not judging. I'm just laughing.
You're not judging, but you're judging. It's okay.
I'm laughing at them while I'm judging.
While you're judging? We don't judge here. Only a little bit.
When I was younger, I was following this guy, and he's a holistic guy, and his whole thing was not judging. And he's probably in his 60s now, and he was always talked about how long it finally took him to get to where he didn't judge. Because his whole thing was, if you judge other people, like we talk about a lot, it's just a reflection of yourself or a lot of other things.
Yeah.
With your ego and all that. And it's still sometimes when I'm in one of those judging moods, like his voice will pop into my head, like, not to judge. And I need to find him, see if he's still around. I know he's still around alive, but if he's still doing content, because he has some good stuff about not judging. And another thing I've been using a lot is something you talked about on our last podcast was comparison. The thief of joy.
It is. It absolutely is. I know it's not my quote, but I know
it's not your quote?
It's not my quote. It's not my quote. I said it last week. I think it's a Teddy Roosevelt quote, if I'm not wrong.
But I've been using that quite a bit this week because I keep comparing myself. Because I'm in one of those places in life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Theodore Roosevelt quote.
Oh, wow.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Comparison is the thief of joy. It is.
Yeah, it's a great reminder. Tell me more about that one, Robbie. Just before you hold that thought for a second, and we'll let everybody know a little update. Right today, you're just going to get Robbie and myself. We're going to sit down and we're going to have a chat about what's going well in our life, what we're struggling with, and just have a conversation between two of us. We've had a couple. We had a recording time we were supposed to do, and I'm bringing this up because I've mentioned to people that we were going to record a podcast and release a podcast today about porn and relationships. And so they're going to check this one out and not see what I had essentially promised. And what's happened there is we had to reschedule because the guest that we had needed to reschedule. Just life happens. It happens to all of us. So we are going to get him recorded this week. And I'm really excited to have a conversation about this topic because I think it's super important. And I'll hop back on that bandwagon after I cut you off. I just wanted to let our listeners know that we don't have a guest this week, and we were just going to have a you and I chat, which are really good chats anyways,
Yeah.
and that our guest to talk about porn and sex addiction and how it affects relationships. Uh, he'll be on. It's coming. Fingers crossed we can get our schedules to align for this week, because I feel like it's a super important topic that we could probably do like 3 episodes on, and we'll go from there. Okay, Robbie, I cut you off. Hopefully, I didn't. You didn't forget. I just wanted to let everyone know what was
No,
going on.
I can't forget. It's too much.
Okay.
uh, just comparison. My daughter's out of school, and she's been very vocal about spending time with me, which is awesome. I'm super grateful for it. Most of our relationship, when she wasn't living with me, when she wasn't around, I did my own thing. And, when we did have our time together, we did hang out together, and that was our thing. We planned around that. And now with her, living with me and being out of school and wanting to spend time with me and wanting to be around is really new to me. And I'm not trying to like play this down or anything, but it's been a struggle. I've had a lot of free time ever since, my divorce. And now my time between work, podcasting, coaching life, other stuff, I'm trying to find the balance for all this. And like my cup is so empty because the people pleasing me has just dumped all this water out and it's not getting refilled. And I've talked about this many times, the people pleasing, and, I keep dumping the water out, not replenishing it. But the person that's only really hurting is myself.
Right.
And it's starting to sting. It's starting to sting bad. And with my daughter living at home, being out of school, stuff changes a lot, and that's fine. We try to make plans, and we're sticking to plans. And I let her know that this needs to happen, and she's letting me know, hey, you need to quit doing this stuff and other stuff, and I need you to be more present, or those things. And that hurts. Being told by my 14-year-old daughter that I need to be more present, that just but this is where I was going with that comparison. Then I start getting into comparison where kids get out for the summer. All these parents have summer trips planned with their kids. A bunch of our friends have already gone on trips soon as school got out.
We don't so have you're already comparing yourself to what you're not able to provide versus what they are.
Yeah. I mean, the day they got out of school, a bunch of her friends got in cars and drove on road trips. And she didn't say anything. She didn't, she was upset that her friends weren't around, but she did her thing and made plans and hung out with one of her other friends, stayed. They did all kinds of cool stuff. I was at work most of the time, then I'd come home and they're having fun. But yeah, I'm really comparing myself to what other parents are giving their kids right now. And it's not that I can't give it to her. I can, but I have to figure out ways with work life. That's the balance.
Yeah.
Without the money, we can't do those trips. But what I have to keep telling myself is I don't need the money to do the things that we can do and hang out together. But that's where that comparison gets in there. It's like, oh, they're, doing this and that, staying at hotels and eating out and all this other stuff. And I'm like, and this is so weird the way we are in society that stuff matters, when really back in the day, just sitting down and having a family dinner was like a big part of family life every day.
Yeah.
You came home, you ate dinner, whatever time it was with your family, you talked about your day. And that was the time where you spent and talked and learned about a lot of stuff, then moved on. There was always that time period every single day that you could sit down with your parents and your siblings or your other family members and talk about stuff.
Right.
Now we are so busy. Myself is so busy
and distracted.
Yes. Both sides, right? Both sides are distracted.
Yep.
So what we've been doing is, I've been making time. We've been going and doing things and, eating, then we both, put our phones away. We look at them a little bit here and there, but it's like I'm trying to reconnect with my daughter at this different level, trying to throw the comparison out. It's all new. She's 14. She's like totally thinks on her own, has a mind of her own, has her own opinions, her own judgments. um, and she just wants to spend time with me. And I'm just like always searching in my head, like telling myself a story. What do I do? What can I do when I don't need to do anything? And that's the hard part.
Do you mind if I share a story with you?
Yeah.
One that I think reflects a lot of that same thing and a lot of that same feeling that I had, that I've had.
Yeah.
Last summer, I had my kids. My kids live with my wife, or my ex-wife. Anyways, last summer I had my kids for a couple weeks at my parents' place. And that's when I was still living with my parents. But I had my kids for a couple weeks at my parents' place. And I decided that I would take them camping. Now, I don't have a tent. I don't have anything like that. I have a Dodge Ram pickup truck with a raised topper on the back, and my truck bed is a place to sleep. It is literally, it's got a foam mattress in it, queen size bed, essentially, covered roof. Like, that's my tent. It's on 4 wheels. I've got a pot and a frying pan and a 1-burner stove. And I asked my kiddos if they wanted to go and live out of the truck, go camping out of the truck for 2-3 nights. And so I find a campground about an hour away. So, if the girls don't want to be there anymore, I'm close enough to drive back, but let's give ourselves an experience. So we slept in the trunk. We gave it a test run the night before, and we had a pretty good night. And then we went camping. And so I had the site rented. It's RV site, powered, small site. Anyways, I was surrounded by families doing their summer vacationing thing at this campground resort. And they all had RVs and big fancy tents and golf carts and you name it. I was the guy with the truck in the campsite sitting at the picnic table, and our roof was my trunk. And I looked around and I thought, I can't even give these kids that kind of experience. Like, everyone's doing this way better than I am. And I compared what I was able to provide versus what all of these other people were providing their kids. And there were moments where you just feel lesser than. And if I was to turn around and look at those children, I would have known that they were having the time of their life. They weren't looking at what all of the other kids had and what they were doing. And my kids were 7 and 9, 2 girls. And they were having a blast. They didn't compare about anything. We cooked on my trunk. We hung out in the truck bed of my car. We ate together on the picnic table. We ran around and played and swam and played. They played with the kids. And the last thing they cared about was the bed they were sleeping on. They were just getting to hang out with Dad. And I had to get out of my own way to be able to experience it the same way they were experiencing it. And I hear what you're saying. But I think what she's saying is she just wants to spend time with you. I don't think she cares near as much as what or the how. I took them because I wanted to share the outdoors with them, share the passion that I had there. And I think you have a lot of passions that your kid enjoys, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You know how to go out and do things on the what's the word I'm the word on the end of my tongue was on the cheap, but that's not what I mean. On on the minimalist side, I've seen you do it.
Yeah.
And that's not because of lack of money or resources or whatever. That's just how you enjoy life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that camping trip and, some of the messages you were sending me. And at one point you were having a horrible time. And that's,
It had
that's a
everything to
good
do with
point.
my own head and nothing to
Yeah.
do with the kids because they were having a blast.
Yeah. And that's another part too, is like you can sit there and watch them have a blast, but then you're building that story in your head
Mm-hmm.
of whatever it is. And like the ways I can get out of my own head, sometimes I don't feel too great about them. It goes back to the addiction side where I would run from stuff. It's always like two where I know what to do. I know how to get out of my own head. But there's just times where I just like, want to turn the volume off on the sound and go to that place I used to go to when I was an addict. And I struggle with that. Is that okay now? I'm not using. I'm still running away. But is this a
Okay.
healthy running away? Is this something I need? So that's another part I've been struggling with.
Good questions to ask.
They seem healthy,
Mm-hmm.
especially when I'm doing them, and when I'm done, I feel better. But then it goes into that part where we go into our head goes, well, I just spent the last 3 hours on the trail, and it's me doing it, bringing myself back down, instead of just going, oh, that was a great 3 hours on the trail. I've talked about this before. When I get back to the car, I'd almost have a panic attack after a run. It's not to that point, but I start to feel guilt.
I was just about to ask you, is there a feeling of guilt that sits in there?
Yeah, there's definitely a feeling of guilt, and like I don't know where it's coming from. This is the weird part, because I'll tell Gabrielle, like, hey, I'm going to a run in the morning, or I'm going to do this. And she's like, okay, cool. We'll I'll keep myself busy till you get home. But I think it's part of the abandonment with my dad, where that trauma comes back around, and it's like
So you feel like when
subconsciously.
you go and do that to take care of yourself, that because that's a self-care thing for you. But when
Correct. Yeah.
you're done, you feel like you could have spent that time better with her.
Yes. Or yes, with her, or
Whatever
yeah,
else.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you know you're doing the thing that's good for you.
Yeah.
But you're not letting it be good for you.
100%. It's good while I'm out,
Yeah.
but it's not good when I'm done.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're like robbing yourself
Of joy.
of the joy afterwards,
Yes.
of that time in your own head.
Yep.
So then Gabriella's not even seeing the benefit of it either.
No, she doesn't. No, because
Because
if she
you're
was
not.
there with me,
Yeah.
she would see it. But she's not
Yeah.
seeing that when I'm out there. She's seeing me when I come home and I'm in my head again.
Yeah, so you're robbing yourself of it before she even gets a chance to see how the filling of your cup.
Yep.
Because I know that's one of the ways that you fill your cup.
Oh yeah. It doesn't happen all the time, like the shorter stuff when I, just get home from work and go out. Those are good ones. But some of the longer days on the weekends, I feel it. But she doesn't care. Like, that's the weird thing. Like, there's something deep down inside that I have to figure out. I'm not going to rush it or anything. There's just something that isn't clicking in life. And I'll figure it out. I'll sit with it and figure it out, but it's not comfortable. And it feels like it's holding me back from happiness, joy, those things where when I am with her, sometimes, I'm always not the nicest because I'm in my own head, mad at myself. So I take it out on her or whatever else it is. It's just very interesting where, and you and I have talked about this before too, is the waves through life where that wave is really high and you're riding that wave and everything's good. Then we know it's going to happen and we're going to hit that low point. And, a lot of times now I don't think I'm prepared to figure it out all, even with tools and all that, but it hits sometimes and it's just like shit. Then like everything adds up on top of it. Work, dealing with people at work, other stuff that you can't control. Sometimes it feels like I just need a whole day uninterrupted, take care of all the shit I need to take care of.
So you can just like wipe that backpack slate of tasks clean.
Yeah, throw all those rocks out of that backpack, right? Throw them all out. Then be good. But I really can't do that. I used to be able to do that in the past. I can't do that now. Like, with work and daughter and all that stuff, it's not like I can stop being a dad and stop going to work.
Right. Just those are responsibilities.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times those just waking up and, grinding through the day, then coming home and whatever else, it's just like, fuck. Can I just breathe for a minute? And
I think you've just explained where a lot of men sit on a daily basis.
Yeah.
A lot of people, but a lot of men sit on a daily basis.
And I don't even have a wife or a girlfriend to make it, I wouldn't say worse, but to add that other factor to it. Because we know
hope
where
it would
factor,
make it better.
But
I mean,
right. If you had
the dynamics, adding the dynamics of a relationship is what you're trying to talk. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you had a very good spouse or friend that could see that and help you with that, that's a good relationship and that's where the teamwork comes involved. A lot of men don't see that. A lot of women don't see that. Just where we're at in society. So you can either bring someone down more or meet them in the middle or try to bring them up. And I think more than ever, men need to be brought back up. Not to just baseline, but they need to be brought up just a little bit. Because we go out and we grind, we take care, we protect, we do everything we can for whoever it is we love, friend, family.
Yeah.
Right. We're in it for whatever it needs to be, and we'll give up everything. Just to do it.
Yep. Just for a little bit of love.
Yeah. And
that's what it comes down to, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
A little bit of love, a little bit of acknowledgement. It goes a long way. It goes an extremely long way.
Yeah. As human beings, we can only be beat down so much. Then after we're beat down, we're just like, bring it on, keep beating me down. You can't hurt me anymore. But what does happen is that hole gets deeper, right? We got a lot of
steps back up to that goes back to how we need to continue to lift each other up. And that's finding and surrounding yourself with people that want to see you grow, that want to see you get better, that that but also still show you the love that you are enough,
Yeah.
right? Because there's a there's a line there somewhere, and I don't know what it is. But the line that I'm talking about is the one where, say, I'm pushing you because I know you're capable and I know you can, perform better or be a better father or just be a better Robbie. That would be me pushing you. You can take that one of two ways. You can take that as me showing you love, or me telling you that what you're doing right now isn't good enough. And it all depends on what perspective and lens that you decide to read that through. And I think it all depends. It depends on the language that I decide to use when I share those thoughts. Those two go hand in hand somehow, where I can still show you care and we can still, I think the word might be constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Then we don't know how to, I don't know, we could take that constructive criticism two different ways. We can use it to beat ourselves down. We can use it as an opportunity to grow.
And what I've also learned is it really depends on the delivery, right?
Oh,
Of
yeah.
that constructive criticism, which no one wants to get criticized, but the way it's delivered is also very important. Communication, right? We talk about this all the time. Communication. Words have meaning. If you can, give that criticism in a good way and show someone how they can benefit from that and what they need to do to work on that, no problem. It gets a little hairy, right? When we get told we don't do this, we don't do that. You never take out the garbage. You never whatever, right? That's not criticism.
Nevers are absolutes too, which are never actually truths, right?
Yeah. At that point, it's just bitching and complaining.
It's accusatory.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It ends
Yeah.
up being accusatory. It's a communication of frustration.
Yep.
Plain and simple. Cool thing is, our YouTube live is actually live because we just had a comment from Erica come through, which I
see
just
that.
responded to, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is the first time that it's working. It's good to know that it's working. So thank you, Erica, for watching and for the comment. If you're still watching, really appreciate that. Robbie,
Yes.
tell me something that's good.
Something that's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're struggling with right now. Super valid. I think it's interesting. We've had this conversation before about you running, and the running is, you're feeling good when you're running now, but it's the afterwards, it's the after the fact now where you have the struggle. And so it's interesting to see how that's changed for you now. You've had a lot change in your life since we've known each other.
Yeah.
Gabby moving in, absolutely one of the bigger ones. And, I don't think you give yourself enough credit for the father that you're trying to be. We're really, really, really good at being hard on ourselves when it comes to that. And I know I do the same thing.
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes another guy to turn around, and the fact that you try and the fact that you care and the fact that shows love to me. Even the understanding that sometimes your energy and your anger gets taken out in the wrong space, in the wrong place. The recognition of that, the self-awareness of that, the fact that that's something that you want to work on and change is incredible to me. I'll bet 3 years ago, Robbie wouldn't even recognize this, let alone know that it was an issue and know that's something that he cares about and wants to work on.
100%.
And so I think that's pretty pretty awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's you know, the good. What does keep me uh, going every day is seeing where she's at in life right now, her happiness and joy, because it was not there uh, when she first moved in. There was a lot of struggles, a whole lot of struggles. It was very dark for her. You never want to see a kid go through that. And as a parent, you don't want to go through that with your kid because there's no right answer. I can't even tell you how. I can't put words how dark it was. A lot of stuff happened, and a lot of things as a parent that I was faced. And don't take this the wrong way. It was like, here she is at my doorstep, and it's a whole pile of shit, and I got to figure it out. Not
And you're
knowing, yeah, not knowing anything, right? Um, and we struggled. She struggled, I struggled, but here we are in a totally different place. Totally different place.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
After all of that struggle, are you two more connected now than you were before?
Yes. And if the connection feels like it's getting better every day. We're learning more about ourselves every single day. She's becoming to learn to be vulnerable with me, what she can
So
do
you've
with,
created a space of trust.
yeah, she can do that with someone else. Um, she's very open in talking about someone else in her life and what has what it has done to her, and I'm very open to tell her, you know, some of the reasons behind the way she feels sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
just from my own learning. So that's the good, is the connection. And you know, it's been a lot of hard work, but sometimes I do forget when I'm sitting there and she comes and she wants to talk to me, telling me about her day, and she's happy and telling me everything, and I'm over here in a bad mood and feeling sorry for myself or whatever. um this is where she's at, and I was a big contributing factor to that. I, I forget about that a lot. And that comes back to where I've poured my heart and soul into her, but at the benefit of, you know, losing some of myself, which 2 years from now or whatever, um, I'll probably look back and go, good for you. You probably needed to lose a little bit of that to help her and to get where you are now. I'm very fast at going down that hole with the shame, and
I wonder if you're not gaining a different side of yourself.
side I've never seen.
Yeah.
Don't know how to react to it. That's what it feels like a lot of days.
I think we hold on to pieces of our identity that keep us comfortable.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And so when you step into those spots where you don't know, it's absolutely uncomfortable. But I feel like when we learn that those new pieces, this new relationship kind of adventures give us an opportunity to shed a side of us that no longer serves us anymore.
Hmm.
And I wonder if that's not what you're experiencing when you come back from your run.
Could be.
I say that because I feel like I'm kind of experiencing that piece the identity piece,
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Which way?
What I find is every once in a while, right now, the past 3 days, I've been super emotional. And it's been a little bit coming. And what I've found so far, or what I think is happening, is when I get to that spot, I'm at a, a spot where I'm going to grow, but I need to leave a part of Steve behind that no longer serves me anymore. And I don't know what the rest of it's going to look like. And it gets difficult to tell myself sometimes that the adventure is going to be worth the risk.
Mm-hmm.
The unknown is going to be as interesting as the safety, or more interesting. And I keep continuing to learn that if I don't go and try and, like, I say leave those pieces behind, I don't think they ever go away. But I think the unbecoming of the things that are no longer healthy for me, like, it's okay for it to not serve me anymore, to sit in my little comfy bubble.
Yeah.
And I'm right now going on this adventure that is well outside my bubble. And so I've created this bubble of fantastic people around me in my addiction recovery. You're one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're a place of emotional safety. You're a place of camaraderie. You're a place of sharing just life together. You're just and you're a place for phenomenal advice. You're an amazing friend. I'm not going to lose that part, but I've been growing now, and now I'm curious. And I've been curious now ever since I started going to school, because I'm getting back out there and doing the things and having conversations with people and pushing myself. I About a month ago, I walked into the wrong lady's office when I was trying to promote this podcast and give away flyers to local businesses. And it was the right lady's office who invited me to this BNI meeting. It's a business networking meeting here in town. And because I had school and other things, exams, it took me a month to book my time to join this meeting, spend a couple hours with these local business people. All you get is 45 to 60 seconds to stand up and say how they can help you. That's all you get. And they go around the whole room, and I met a whole bunch of really awesome, wonderful people. But I accepted the invite. I actually called her up and I was like, "Is this invite still, available?" Absolutely. It was really cool. I saw her there. It was great to see her again. Like I said, walked into the wrong office, was absolutely the right office. And she helped introduce me to a whole bunch of other people that were sitting in a room, and all of these people are there so they can help and support and refer business to each other and do all of these things. And it's just like me going to the CrossFit and being surrounded by people that all want to see everyone succeed. You walk into this room, and this is the energy that's in that building. And so I showed up with my sign, Robbie. I didn't tell you this story. I showed up with my sign. You've had a busy week for sure. But I showed up with my sign. I went and I said my little spiel, wrote a thing, completely started stuttering over my voice and voice cracking and forgetting what I wanted to read and the rest of it, and still did the best I could, talking about our podcast and trying to spread the word about men's mental health. And I got a laundry list of business cards and connections and guys that were interested in being a part of. And so the next day, Friday, I decided I would pick up the phone and start contacting these guys, and 2 guys that I got their business cards from their wives, and had conversations with them. And here's what I'm learning. I don't know what to do with kindness at all. Like it makes me extremely emotional.
Yeah.
Because the words in my head are, you don't deserve this.
Deserve it. Yeah. Yeah.
And I really, really just want to ask why, because it's not computing. Like, what is it? And even if like I hear the words and there's this wall there that doesn't, it almost hurts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. Like it, I think in some ways there's like this little sense of joy that I'm actually doing the right things. But I still don't know how to absorb it. Like, it's there, but there's so much of like, you don't deserve this.
Yeah.
That's there. And I'm incredibly hard on myself. I have to be. Not like I have to be, as in it's a necessary thing. I think what I mean by that is I'm incredibly hard on myself because that's all I know.
Well, it's that talking about that, that side that you're losing.
Yeah. And I don't know that I know any different. And maybe that's what it is, maybe that's what it is. It's some of the hardness.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes I think of it this way is, a knight with his armor on, it just bounces right off. We won't absorb it.
I don't want to be that guy, Robbie.
I know.
I don't.
I know I think a lot of us, the way we cope with, our surviving skills is put that armor on every day, and people may say nice stuff to us, but we don't get it. We don't hear it. It just bounces right off. And, with this growth that's been happening, for both of us, we have to shed that armor. I don't know how either. I do not want to lose that toughness. I feel if I lose that toughness, I will crumble. I will not be who I am anymore. And it's the only way I've got here.
Yeah. And I think there's another way.
There has to be, yeah.
I think there's another way. And I think I'm extremely curious to have more conversations with other men to see what they're doing and how they're doing it. Because I think there's another way that doesn't require, like, I know I'm already soft, but I don't, like, I can be very emotionally soft, and I can show up.
Yeah. You can show up for other people.
Yeah.
Not yourself.
That's fucker.
Well, I'm the same way, right?
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to just call us out.
Yeah, I know, you call a spade. You have to.
Yeah.
But it's been like, I spoke to one guy. Both guys, they swore I was in my 20s, because when I start talking about men's mental health and what we're doing in my own experience, and why, like, we're doing what we're doing right now, because there's such a gap in having important conversations available for other men to have, like what we did. Like, I said to one guy, I was like, there is a ton of resources for men and women when it comes to, if you get that far into an addiction that you need to walk yourself, you need help to walk out of it. Right? We got lucky.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was resources for us.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you're the guys that we were beforehand? Right? What was there for? I mean, I didn't even know what to look for or how to find it. That's a different problem.
That's a
But
totally
I
different
didn't
problem.
even know it existed, nor did I want to see it. But where was the resource that? Where's the resource for the guy that might have a small interest? You know, that before you go down that path, where was the? What could I have done for the version of me before he went down that deep dark road?
Yeah.
How can we
No,
catch the group in the middle?
yeah. That,
How
you
can we
know,
reach the group in the middle? Do we talk to the do we reach the audience, the 20-year-olds? Do we reach the guys, the young men out there that are still, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but so easy that can be influenced to do and be good and lift them
yeah.
and give them hope and give them the strength and the power, because they have an opportunity like no one else does right now.
Yeah.
No one else does right now. If they want to grab life by the balls, opportunity is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely everywhere, because we live in fear.
Yeah. The only way, we both got here was through, like you were saying, through our addiction that led us here. Um, but before that, there was something else, right? We both know
Yeah.
there was something else.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of it, right? Then we figured out ways to just run from it. And in my 20s, I never thought about stuff like that. I was
No.
just out living life, right? If I did have a mentor to maybe sit down with me and talk about that stuff, like my father,
Yeah.
maybe it could be a different story. Grandfather, uh, boss, it doesn't matter, right? Grab me and talk about that.
Yeah.
Um, in my 30s, that's when stuff started to change. That's when they now they're saying like a man's mind doesn't develop till he's in his 30s, which I thought it was 25 before. Now there's some research that they're saying like 29 and 30 before the mind's fully developed, the brain fully develops, which makes a lot of sense. 20s, we're still untouchable. Once we get into our 30s, that's when stuff starts happening. It would be so great if we could catch that before stuff just starts happening. A lot of it is addiction based. The way to run from it, of course, because it's easy. I would love to talk to some men that are struggling, that do not. We could probably find the addiction in there somewhere, but they're just they're just starting to struggle. They don't have anyone to talk to, and where they're at.
You know what?
Because yeah,
I think if there's anyone out there listening right now, any guys out there listening right now, send us an email at forgedinsilencepodcast@gmail.com. Because, Robbie, you bring up an excellent point. A regular guy out there that is struggling and that wants to see change, if you're out there and you're listening right now and you would like to come on this podcast and talk about what you are struggling, what it is that you want to have changed and you just don't know how to do it, and you don't know where to find it, and you don't know what that looks like, reach out in the comments. Find us on Instagram at Forged in Silence Podcast there. Do it. We'll have you on. We'll make the time.
yeah,
I would love to talk to you.
mm-hmm.
I would love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah,
I would love to even try and help you find resources wherever you are in the United States or Canada. I know a fair amount of people, and I'm not it's not averse to me to pick up the phone and give a guy a hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of other people that I'm just meeting right now that seem to want to do the same.
And one thing that bothers me a lot in this world of social media and influencers and everyone telling you what's right and what's wrong. There is no right. There's some wrongs, but first off, it takes a lot of balls to just talk about whatever it is. That's the first step.
Yep.
Steve and I know how hard it is just to talk. It opens the door for a lot more shit to happen, a lot more help, a lot more things. Bouncing other things off of other people is always a great way. But you don't have to sit there in silence like a lot of men are, thinking they're the only ones with this problem. I guarantee you're not. I guarantee you this whole world is full of people, men, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 50, 60, 70, 80, struggling with something. Once you start talking about it, give a space. It's so much better. A lot of things I've learned is, and we were just talking about it, and you kind of mentioned, Steve, is I might be losing something that I need to lose. I don't know how to lose it. I don't know who that other person is. And I hate when people say that it's going to get easier before, it gets harder. One thing I've learned is it's a grind. There's no end in sight, and that's okay. Find joy and happiness in whatever spurt you can, and when that wave's high, ride it like hell. Give it all you got, and when that wave is low, grind and fight like you're dying, because that's quite how it feels. But it's okay. We'll get through it. And there's plenty of us here to get you through it. You just got to reach out.
Dude, I don't even have to finish off the podcast because you just did. That's exactly how we end this podcast every time. So I think we'll tie this one off, put a bow on it, and say thank you all for listening live and being a part of this live. We'll try and do this every time, and maybe we'll send an announcement out saying when we actually are recording next to give people an opportunity to watch this show.
And we would love to have the communication of going back and forth with our listeners, watchers, because that's why we're here.
Absolutely. And if people have questions or whatever it is, we'll be here on YouTube Live, and we will try and advertise and put the message out as to when we'll be on next. I know we might have a recording or two next week, which is a small surprise to Robbie, because we haven't had much of a time to talk this week, you and I. It's just been one of those weeks. So
Yes.
we'll catch up, and if there is a guy out there that wants to come and join us and talk about what he's dealing with and his problems and the struggles that you have, and we would be happy to sit here and listen.
Yep.
And help you come up with some resources. So to that end, you don't have to suffer in silence. Reach out. Peace.